Hey, welcome back. It's me, Tracy Lene. You know what's special about today? It's my birthday. It sure is. I am 56 years old. And you know how people say, thank God I don't look like what I've been through? Well, I can't even say that because I ain't been through much of nothing. This has been a really good life. I may be rocking red hair now, but I'm not like Annie. I didn't have a hard knock life. I've had a really good life. Really, really good life. And I'm grateful, honored, and blessed to be 56. And oftentimes I'll tell people I'm 56 and they'll go, oh, you don't look 56. Well, I don't know what 56 looks like, but what I know is I'm 56. I'm grateful. I'm happy. I'm just happy. Everything in my life is exactly as it should be. And that does not mean I got a gazillion dollars in the bank. I got a gazillion dollars in the bank. It just ain't showed itself to me. I'm going through the ending part of menopause where I'm hot a lot, but to be fair, it's like 1,000 degrees outside right now. Well, not 1,000, but it's really hot. Anyway, I'm back to the reading, and we are still in the fifth agreement, but we're in part 2. And I'm going to read to you The Power of Doubt, chapter 8. The fifth agreement. This is the fifth agreement. We're finally in the fifth agreement. Remember the first 4. The first one is 1, to be impeccable with your word. The second one is to don't take anything personal. The third one is to not make any assumptions. And the fourth one is to do your best at everything. So here we go. The power of doubt. The fifth agreement. Be skeptical, but learn to listen. The fifth agreement is be skeptical, but learn to listen. Be skeptical because most of what you hear isn't true. You know that humans speak with symbols, and that symbols aren't the truth. Symbols are only the truth because we agree, not because they are really the truth. But the second half of the agreement is to learn to listen. And the reason is simple. When you learn to listen, you understand the meaning of the symbols that people are using. You understand their story, and the communication improves a lot. Then perhaps instead of all of the confusion among humans who inhabit the earth, there will be clarity. Once you realize that hardly anything you know through symbols is true, then be skeptical has a much bigger meaning. Be skeptical is masterful because it uses the power of doubt to discern the truth. Being skeptical is not the same as being a doubting Thomas or not believing what people say just simply in a negative way. It's understanding that this nose ring needs to move. Yeah, it's understanding that people speak in symbols, and oftentimes they don't even have the truest meaning of the symbol. They just saying stuff and they mean something else. And you know people like that. They'll say one thing and go, oh no, but that's not what I meant. But that's what you said. Where was I? Once you realize that hardly anything you know through symbols is true, then be skeptical has a much bigger meaning. Be skeptical is masterful because it uses the power of doubt to discern the truth. Whenever you hear a message from yourself or from another artist, simply ask, is it truth or is it not truth? Is it reality or is it a virtual reality? The doubt takes you behind the symbols and makes you responsible for every message you deliver and receive. Why would you want to invest your faith in any message that is not true? By being skeptical, you don't believe every message. You don't put your faith in symbols. And when your faith is not in symbols, your faith is in yourself. Wow. When your faith isn't in symbols, your faith is in yourself. Then if faith is believing without a doubt and doubt is not believing, be skeptical, don't believe. And what will you not believe? Let's read that again. Then if faith is believing without a doubt and doubt is not believing, be skeptical, don't believe. And what will you not believe? Well, you will not believe all the stories that we artists create with our knowledge. You know that most of the knowledge isn't true. The whole symbology isn't true. So don't believe me, don't believe yourself, and don't believe anybody else. We got to keep reading for more clarity. The truth doesn't need you to believe it. The truth simply is, and it survives whether you believe it or not. Lies need you to believe them. Lies need you to believe them. If you don't believe lies, they don't survive your skepticism, and they simply disappear. But skepticism can go in 2 directions. One way is to pretend to be skeptical because you think you're too smart to be gullible. Look at how intelligent I am. I don't believe in anything. This is not skepticism. To be skeptical is not to believe anything you hear, and you don't believe it because it's not the truth. That's all. The way to be skeptical is just to be aware that the entire humanity believes in lies. You know that humans distort the truth because we are dreaming, and our dream is just a reflection of the truth. Every artist distorts the truth, but you don't need to judge what somebody says or call that person a liar. All of us tell lies in one way or another, and it's not because we want to lie. It is because of what we believe. It is because of the symbols we learned and the way we are applying all of those symbols. Once you are aware of this, the fifth agreement makes a lot of sense, and it can make a very big difference in your life. People will come to you and tell you that their personal story. They will tell you their point of view, what they believe is the truth. But you won't judge it if it's truth or if it's not truth. You don't have any judgment, but you do have respect. You listen to the way other people express their symbols, knowing that whatever they say is distorted by their beliefs. You know that what they are telling you is nothing but a story, and you know that because you can feel it. You just know. But you also know when their words come from the truth, and you know without words, that is the main point. Truth or fiction, you don't have to believe anyone's story. You don't have to form an opinion about what someone says. You don't have to express your own opinion. You don't have to agree or disagree. Just listen. The more impeccable a person is with the word, the clearer the message will be. But the words that come from another artist have nothing to do with you. You know that it's nothing personal. You listen and you understand all the words, but the words no longer affect you. You no longer judge what other people say because you understand what they are doing. They're only letting you know what is going on in their virtual world. You already have the awareness that all artists live in their own dream, in their own world. And that world, whatever they perceive, is the truth for them. And it could be that it's absolutely true for the artists who are expressing their story, but it's not truth for you. Let me say that again, because that's a lot of times what we get with people. I love my hair, y'all. Truly love it. Anyway, you already have the awareness that all artists live in their own dream. And artists is people. We're all creators and artists. In their own world. In that world, whatever they perceive is truth for them. And it could be that it's the absolute truth for the artists who are expressing their story, but it's not the truth for you. The only truth for you is what you perceive in your world. With this awareness, there is nothing to prove to anyone. You don't have to argue with anybody about what they believe. You can say, is that so? You don't say. That's it. It's not about being right or wrong. You respect whatever someone says because it's another artist speaking. Respect is so important. Let me say that again. Respect is so important. Like Aretha Franklin said, R-E-S-P-E-C-T, find out what it means to me. When you listen, when you learn to listen, you show respect for the other artists. You show respect for their art, for their creation. All artists have the right to create their art in whatever way they want. They have the right to believe whatever they want to believe. They have the right to say what they have to say. But if you don't learn to listen, you will never understand what they are saying. Listening is so important in communication. When you learn to listen, you know exactly what other people want. Once you know what they want, what do you do with that information? What you do with that information is up to you. You can react or not react. You can agree or disagree with what they say, and that depends on what you want. Just because other people want something, that doesn't mean you have to give them what they want. People are always trying to hook your attention because through the attention, they can download any information. Many times, you just don't want that information. You listen, you don't want it. You ignore it, and it changes directions. But if that information hooks your attention, then you really want to listen and find out what someone is saying. Find out if what someone is saying is important to you. Then you can share your point of view if you want to, knowing that it is just a point of view. That's your choice, but the key is to listen. If you don't learn to listen, you will never understand what I am sharing with you right now. You will jump to conclusions and react like it's your dream when it's not your dream. When other artists are sharing their dream with you, just be aware that it is their dream. You know what is your dream, and you know what your dream is not. Right now, I'm sharing the way that I perceive the world, the way that I dream, and my stories are truth for me. But I know that they are not the real truth, so don't believe me. Whatever I tell you is just my point of view. Of course, from my point of view, I'm sharing the truth with you. I do my best to use words in the most impeccable way so that you can understand what I'm saying. But even if I share an exact copy of the truth with you, I know that you will distort my messages as soon as it goes from my mind into yours. You will hear the message and tell yourself the same message in a completely different way, according to your point of view. then perhaps what I say is the truth or not the truth. But perhaps what you believe is not the truth. I am only one half of the message. You are the other half. I am responsible for what I say, but I'm not responsible for what you understand. It's like if you say something to a person, they get offended, but you didn't mean to offend them. It's not your responsibility to make them not be offended. You can say, I didn't mean to offend you, but that's all you can do. They're going to decide whether they're offended or not, and you are not going to change that. Okay. You are responsible for what you understand. You are responsible for whatever you do with what you hear in your head, because you are the one who gives meaning to every word you hear. Right now, you are interpreting what I'm saying according to your personal knowledge. You are rearranging the symbols and transforming them into the way that maintains an equilibrium with everything in your belief system. Once you achieve the equilibrium, you may or may not accept my story as the truth. And you can make the assumption that what you are telling yourself is what I intended to say. But it doesn't mean that your assumption is true. You can misinterpret what I say. People do that all the time. You can use what you hear to blame me, to blame somebody else, or to blame yourself, to blame your religion or your philosophy, to be angry with everybody, mainly with yourself. You can also use what you hear to find the truth, to find yourself, to make peace with yourself, and perhaps to change the message that you deliver to yourself. Whatever you do with my words, it is up to you. It is your dream, and I respect your dream. You don't have to believe me, but if you learn to listen, you can understand what I'm saying. And if the information I'm sharing with you makes sense to you, then you can make it a part of your dream, if you want to. You can take whatever works for you and use it to modify your dream, and what does not work for you, just ignore it. That's how I came to be the person I am when I call a smorgasbord of religious experiences. I've taken something from every religion, and what feels right to me, I use it. Now, some people will say, oh, you can't do that. And they're right for them. They can't do that. It won't make any difference to me, but it might make a difference to you, because I make the assumption, knowing that it's an assumption, that you want to become a better artist, and that's why you are challenging your own beliefs. And I always challenge my beliefs to see if those beliefs may be outdated and have to move on to the next set of beliefs. Then be skeptical. Don't believe me. Don't believe anybody else, but especially don't believe yourself. When I say don't believe yourself, oh my goodness, can you see the implication? Don't believe everything you learned. Not believing yourself is a huge advantage, because most of what you learned is not the truth. Everything you know, your whole reality, is nothing but symbols. But you are not that bunch of symbols that talk in your head. You know that, and that's why you're skeptical and you don't believe yourself. If your beliefs are telling you, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm old, I'm a loser, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'll never make it, then don't believe yourself, because that is not true. These messages are distorted. They're nothing but lies. Once you can see the lies, you don't have to believe in them. The other day, I was vending at a Lit with Literature book fundraiser, and most of the people there were in their 30s, and they were beautiful and couples and seemed like they're happy and educated and wanting to help the Black community get back to reading. And I just thought, wow, they are the future. I'm the past. I'll be 56 in a few days. I'm the past. They're the future. And that settled in my heart for a little bit. I'm looking at some of the girls, their cute little shapes, and I'm like, oh, I need to lose 30 pounds. I let all of that come inside of me, well, come out of me, because it was already in there, obviously. I let all of that poison come and mingle around until I thought, what am I doing? No, I'm not the past. I'm the now, just like they are. And I'm not overweight in the sense of I got to beat myself up. I need to eat better so that the weight can come off in a proper way. I had to really do that and not think like that, because they're nothing but lies. Those were lies. I'm not the past. I'm the present as they are, and their bodies look good, and so does mine, and it's going to look better. Once you can see the lies, you don't have to believe them. Use the power of doubt to challenge every message that you deliver to yourself. Is it really true that I'm ugly? Is it really true that I'm not good enough? Is this message real, or is it virtual? Of course, it's virtual. None of these messages come from the truth from life. They come from distortions in our knowledge. The truth is, there are no ugly people. The truth is, there are no ugly people. There is no good enough or strong enough. There's no universal book of law where these judgments are true. These judgments are just agreements humans make. I like to say sometimes people aren't ugly physically, but they're ugly acting. I'm drinking sparkling water. I love sparkling water. Can you see the consequences of believing in yourself? Believing in yourself is one of the worst things you can do because you've been telling yourself lies your whole life. And if you believe all those lies, that's when your dream isn't a pleasant dream. If you believe what you tell yourself, you may use all those symbols you learned to hurt yourself. Woo-wee. Your personal dream may even be a pure hell, because believing in lies is how you create your own hell. If you're suffering, it's not because anybody's making you suffer. It is because you obey the tyrant that's ruling your head. When the tyrant obeys you, when there's no longer a judge or a victim in your mind, you won't be suffering any longer. Your tyrant is ruthless. It's always abusing you by using all those symbols against you. It thrives on emotional poison generated by negative emotions, and the way it generates these emotions in you is by judging and giving opinions. Nobody judges you more than you judge yourself. Of course, you try to escape from the judgment, the guilt, the rejection, the punishment. But how can you escape from your own thoughts? If you don't like someone, you can walk away. If you don't like yourself, where are you going to go? You still there. You can hide from everybody else, but you cannot hide from your own judgment. It seems as if there is no escape. That's why so many people overeat, take drugs, abuse alcohol, and become addicted to various substances and behaviors. They try to do whatever they can to avoid their own story, to avoid their own creation that's distorting all those symbols in their head. Some people are suffering from so much emotional pain that they decide to take their own lives. That's what lies can do to any of us. The voice of knowledge can become so distorted and create so much self-hate that it kills the human. And all of this is just because we believe in all those opinions that we've learned over so many years. Just imagine that all of your own opinions, plus all the opinions of everybody around you, are like a huge hurricane inside you. Imagine believing all of those opinions. Well, if you're skeptical, if you don't believe yourself, if you don't believe anybody else, then none of these opinions can disturb you or throw you off center. When you have control over your own symbology, you are always centered. You are always relaxed and calm, because the real you makes the choices in your life, not the symbols. When you want to communicate something, you order the symbols, and that is the way they come out of your mouth. You are the artist, and you can arrange the symbols in any way you want, in any direction you want, because all of those symbols are at your command. You can use the symbols to ask for what you need, to express what you want, what you don't want. You can express your thoughts, your feelings, your dreams in the most beautiful poetry or prose. But just because you use a language to communicate it doesn't mean that you believe it. Why do you believe what you already know? When you are alone and talking to yourself, it's completely meaningless. What can you tell yourself that you don't already know? If you understand the fifth agreement, you will see the reason why you don't need to believe what you can see. You already know it without words. The truth doesn't come with words. The truth is silent. It is something that you just know. It is something you can feel without words, and it is called silent knowledge. Silent knowledge is what you know before you invest your faith in symbols. When you open yourself to the truth and learn to listen, and all the symbols just lose their value. And the only thing that remains is the truth. The truth is, it's hot out here, but it's beautifully hot. There is nothing to know, nothing to justify. What I'm sharing with you isn't easy to understand, and at the same time, it is so simple, it's obvious. In the end, you're going to realize that languages are symbols that are only true because you think they are. And if you put them aside, what remains? The truth. Then you see a chair, and you won't know what to call it, but you can sit on it, and the truth is in there. Matter is truth. Life is truth. Truth is, I don't understand this book right now, but I guess it's going to all come together because this is not making sense to me. But it's not making sense to me because I got to listen more as I'm reading. Matter is truth. Life is truth. Light is truth. Love is truth. The human dream is not truth. But not being truth doesn't mean it's bad. Being bad is just another concept that's not true either. Well, the hell, ain't nothing true. Once you realize that you create the whole symbology to communicate with your own kind, then you find out that the symbols are not really good or bad, right or wrong. You make them right or you make them wrong with your beliefs. Now, I do think that that's the truth. Because, there was a time when a 10-year-old girl being married off to a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old man was nothing wrong with that. They thought that was the right thing to do. That was the truth of their time. We're looking at it now, we're like, that's nasty and disgusting and he got worms. But they didn't look at it like that. They looked at it completely different. That was their truth at that time. Now, if you come near a 10-year-old, you 20, 30, 40, 50, I hope, you know what I hope, because you don't need to be in possession of that thing. Once you realize that you create the whole symbology to communicate with your own kind, then you find out that the symbols are not really good or bad, right or wrong. You make them right or you make them wrong with your beliefs. That is the power of your belief. But the truth is beyond belief. When you go beyond symbols, what you find is a world of perfection where everyone and everything in creation is perfect. Even the investment of your belief in every word is perfect. Even your anger, your drama, your lies are perfect. Even the hell that you sometimes live in is perfect, because only perfection exists. Just imagine if you lived your whole life without learning all the lies in your knowledge, without suffering from investing in your faith and lies, superstition, and opinions. You would follow life like the rest of the animals, which means you would keep your innocence your entire life. In the process of domestication, you lose your innocence. But in losing your innocence, you start to search for what we have lost. This leads you to gain awareness. Once you recover awareness, you become completely responsible for your own evolution, for every choice you make in life. I do believe that everything that comes into your life is there to perfect you. It is like the sandpaper to you. Ooh, look, yeah, I am. Yep, it is hot out. When you're educated by the dream of the planet, you have no choice. You learn so many lies. But maybe it's time to unlearn those lies and to relearn how to follow the truth by following your own heart. Unlearning, or what I call undomestication, is a very slow but powerful process. As we said before, every time you take your faith away from a symbol, that power comes back to you. It's beginning to make sense to me. And it keeps coming back to you until finally the entire symbology has no power over you. When you take away the power of every symbol and bring it back to you, the whole dream is powerless. And when all that power has returned to you, you are invincible. Nothing can defeat you. Or perhaps I should say that you can no longer defeat yourself. It's exactly the same thing. Once you recover all the power you invested in symbols, you don't believe every thought that comes into your head. You don't believe your own story, but you listen to your story. And because you respect your own story, you can enjoy it. When you go to the movies or read a novel, you don't believe it, but you can enjoy it, right? Once you see the difference between reality and the virtual reality, you know that you can trust reality and you don't have to trust the virtual reality, but you can enjoy both. You can enjoy what is and you can enjoy what you create. Even though you know your story isn't true, you can create the most beautiful story and you can guide your life through that story. You can create your personal heaven and live in that heaven. And if you can understand other people's story and they can understand yours, then together you can create the most beautiful dream. But first, you need to unlearn a lot. The fifth agreement is another perfect tool for that. Wherever you go around the world, you will hear all kinds of opinions and stories from other people. You will find great storytellers reading, wanting to tell you what to do with your life, what you should do with your life. That was my oldest son. They're making my favorite food for dinner. You should do this, you should do that, or you should do whatever. Don't believe them. Be skeptical, but learn to listen. Then make your choices. Be responsible for every choice you make in your life. This is your life, not anybody else's life. And you will find that it's nobody else's business what you do with your life. For centuries, there have been people who claim to know the will of God and who go around the world preaching goodness and rightness and condemning everybody. For centuries, there have been prophets who predicted big catastrophes in the world. Not that long ago, there were people who predicted that in the year 2000, all the computers would fail and society as we